Blue and red lights flash across the dark road, cutting through the quiet night. A police officer stands firm, his gun drawn, his voice sharp and commanding. On the other side of the barrel, the director of the FBI. The air is thick with tension. This isn't just another routine traffic stop. This is something much bigger. It all started with a simple pullover. The officer, working a late shift, spots a black SUV rolling through a stop sign. Standard procedure: pull the car over, check ID, issue a warning, maybe a ticket. But as soon as the driver rolls down the window and hands over his credentials, everything changes. The officer's expression shifts, but instead of easing up, he doubles down. Within seconds, his gun is unholstered, pointed directly at the man in the driver's seat. What happens next is almost too shocking to believe. The man behind the wheel. None other than the FBI director himself, a man with full authority over federal investigations, a man who answers only to the highest levels of government. And yet, here he is, facing down a police officer who refuses to lower his weapon. Bystanders pull out their phones, capturing the moment. Sirens wail in the distance. Backup is coming, but for whom? Then, in a blink, the scene takes another turn. Just as fast as the officer had drawn his gun, he's suddenly being restrained by his own colleagues. The backup that arrived wasn't there for the FBI director. They were there for *Kim*. In mere moments, the officer goes from being in control to being placed in handcuffs himself. What could have led to this? Was it a mistake, or was there something deeper going on? And most importantly, what happens next? Stay tuned, because this story is just getting started. The officer's face is frozen in shock as his own colleagues grip his arms and pull him back. His gun is swiftly taken away, his badge no longer a shield. Just moments ago, he was the one giving orders. Now he's the one being restrained. The FBI director steps out of the SUV, his expression unreadable, his eyes locked onto the officer who had just threatened his life. No one speaks at first. The tension lingers in the air like a thick fog, heavy and unshakable. The police radio crackles with chatter, but no one moves to answer. The few bystanders brave enough to watch from a distance keep their phones raised, capturing every second of this bizarre and unthinkable standoff. How did this happen, and why? As the officers begin to search their now-detained colleague, questions start flying. What could have pushed him to pull a gun on one of the most powerful law enforcement figures in the country? Was it an honest mistake, an overreaction, or was there something much deeper at play? The arrested officer remains silent, his jaw tight. He knows something no one else does, at least not yet. His eyes dart to the FBI director, then to the other officers, calculating. Meanwhile, the director himself finally speaks, his voice calm but firm. "I want answers," he says, looking directly at the senior officer on the scene. But before anyone can respond, another police car screeches to a stop. A man in a dark suit steps out, not a cop, not a local official. His badge flashes under the streetlights. He's with Internal Affairs. He wasn't just called here, he was already on his way. This wasn't just about one bad traffic stop. Something bigger is happening behind the scenes, something no one is ready to talk about. And just like that, the mystery deepens. Why was the officer so quick to react? What does the FBI director know? And why was Internal Affairs already in motion before the first call even went out? The pieces are there, but the full picture is still out of reach. The Internal Affairs agent steps forward, his gaze sharp as he scans the scene. He doesn't ask what happened, he already knows. The way he carries himself, the urgency in his stride, suggests this wasn't just a random police stop gone wrong. This was expected, maybe even planned. The officers who had arrested their own colleagues seem uneasy, exchanging quick glances. The man they just put in cuffs wasn't some rookie who made a bad call. He was one of them. A seasoned officer with years on the force. The kind of guy who doesn't make careless mistakes. So why did he pull a gun on the FBI director? And why does he look more frustrated than afraid, as if he knew this moment was coming? The FBI director remains calm, watching everything unfold. He's not demanding answers, he's waiting for the right moment. He knows this situation is bigger than just him. This isn't about a single officer overstepping his authority. It's about something deeper, something hidden. Then the officer finally speaks. His voice is low, steady. "You're making a mistake." It's not a plea. It's not a defense. It almost sounds like a warning. "We've got a situation. Officers down. Repeat, officers down." The silence that follows is deafening. Every cop on scene stiffens. The FBI director's expression darkens. And just like that, everything changes. The moment the radio crackles with a chilling call, asterisk officers down asterisk, everything shifts. The tension that had been simmering suddenly spikes, sharp and electric. Every officer on scene instinctively reaches for their radio, waiting for more details. But there's nothing. Just static. The internal affairs agent tightens his grip on the warrant, his face unreadable, but his posture stiffens. The FBI director takes a slow step forward, his sharp eyes locked onto the arrested officer. There's no mistaking it. This officer knows something. And whatever it is, it's connected to the chaos unfolding somewhere else in the city. Where? One of the officers finally demands into his radio, his voice clipped with urgency, but no answer comes. The officer in cuffs exhales, shaking his head like he saw this coming. "You don't understand," he mutters. "This isn't what you think." The director steps closer. "Then explain it to me." But before the officer can speak, another set of headlights floods the street. A black SUV screeches to a stop just feet away, and before anyone can react, men in suits step out. Not local cops, not internal affairs. These are federal agents, but not FBI. One of them flashes a badge. Homeland Security. Step away from the suspect. Suspect. The word hangs in the air like a loaded gun. The officers hesitate. This isn't protocol. Homeland Security doesn't just show up at local arrests without reason. And yet, here they are, moving fast, eyes sharp, making it clear they're in control now. The internal affairs agent steps forward. "This is my jurisdiction," he argues, holding up the warrant. "We have a legal." "You don't understand." The lead Homeland Security agent cuts in, his voice tight. "This man is not who you think he is." The FBI director doesn't flinch. "Then who is he?" The Homeland agent doesn't answer. Instead, he motions to his men, who move toward the arrested officer. But then, another radio burst. "All units, stand down. Do not engage. Repeat. Asterisk do not engage asterisk." The order comes from somewhere high up. Higher than the local PD. Higher than the FBI. The officers exchange uneasy looks. Who just gave that order, and why? The officer in cuffs exhales slowly, looking directly at the FBI director. "Now do you get it?" he says quietly. "You were never supposed to stop me." The director's expression darkens. The pieces are falling into place, but the picture they're forming, it's worse than he imagined. The FBI director doesn't move. He doesn't blink. His mind is already working, piecing together the implications of those words. Asterisk, "You were never supposed to stop me," asterisk. The arrested officer looks calm now, almost resigned, as if he knows how this is going to play out. The Homeland Security agents remain stone-faced, waiting for someone to back down, but no one does. Then, without warning, an explosion rocks the air. A deep, gut-punching blast, somewhere close, shaking the ground beneath them. Every officer instinctively ducks, hands going to weapons. The FBI director whips his head toward the source. Thick black smoke billows into the night sky just a few blocks away. Radios erupt with chaos, multiple voices, overlapping, frantic. Explosion downtown, units responding, possible secondary threat. But through the noise, one line cuts through everything. "Evacuate the federal building now." The Homeland Security agent doesn't hesitate. He motions to his men. "We're done here." Without another word, They move to take the arrested officer. But the director steps in their way. No, he stays with me. His voice is steel. He's no longer just demanding answers. He's taking control. The Homeland agent doesn't flinch. Director, this is above your pay grade. A tense beat of silence. Then the director pulls out his phone, dials a number, and holds it up to his ear. 3 rings, then a voice, calm, authoritative, someone powerful, someone who can override this entire situation. This is the FBI director, he says, eyes locked onto the Homeland agents. Tell me what's happening. A pause, then the response, quiet but chilling. You need to get out of there, now. No explanation, no details, just an order. And the moment he hears it, the director realizes this isn't about an officer making a bad call. It's not even about him. This is something bigger. Something designed to keep him distracted while something else unfolds. And whatever it is, it's already happening. The air is thick with smoke and tension as the FBI director lowers his phone. The urgency in that last message wasn't just a warning, it was a command. Whatever is happening, it's bigger than he thought. Bigger than anyone here realizes. The Homeland Security agents don't wait. They grab the arrested officer and start moving him toward that SUV. But this time, the director doesn't stop them. Not because he's backing down, but because he's finally starting to understand. The explosion wasn't random. It was a distraction, and the officer, the one who had just been in handcuffs, was never the real target. He was. The realization hits him like a punch to the gut. Every moment, every strange move tonight, the sudden stop, the overreaction, the arrival of internal affairs before anything even happened, and now Homeland Security taking control, none of it was coincidence. He turns to the internal affairs agent, whose face is now unreadable. Who gave you that warrant? The director asks, his voice sharp. The agent hesitates, just for a second, but that's all it takes. The director sees it in his eyes. He doesn't know. Or worse, he knows exactly who. Before anyone can react, the officer being escorted away suddenly breaks free. A single sharp move, too fast for anyone to stop. In one fluid motion, he grabs the gun off the closest Homeland agent and spins. But he doesn't fire. He doesn't run. He just holds it up, not aiming, just standing there, letting the moment stretch. And then he says the one thing no one expected. You need to ask yourself, he says, his voice steady, why you were in that SUV tonight. The words slam into the director harder than the explosion. The officer isn't trying to escape. He's making a point. The director wasn't just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was meant to be there. Someone made sure of it. A flash of realization crosses his face, but before he can speak, before he can even think, another SUV screeches onto the scene. This one is different. No markings, no lights. The doors fly open, and men in tactical gear pour out. Not local cops, not Homeland, not anyone recognizable. And that's when he knows. The real threat was never the officer. It was never about the gun. It was about who set all of this in motion. And whoever they are, they just arrived. The men in tactical gear move fast, surrounding the scene with military precision. No badges, no identifying marks. Just weapons drawn and eyes locked on their target. But who that target isn't clear yet. For the first time tonight, the FBI director feels something new. Not just suspicion, not just frustration, but a cold, undeniable certainty. This isn't just about him. This isn't just about the arrested officer. This is bigger. And whoever these men are, they aren't here to clean up a mistake. They're here to end something. The Homeland Security agents instinctively shift, hands near their holsters, waiting for a signal that never comes. The officer, the one who had just been in cuffs, still holds the stolen weapon, but he doesn't move. He just watches, as if waiting for the director to figure it out. And then it hits him. Everything tonight was a setup, not for an arrest, not for an assassination, but for control someone somewhere wanted to see who would react, who would take orders, who would ask the right questions, and who wouldn't. The director glances at the internal affairs agent, whose expression finally cracks, just for a second. It's enough. This wasn't about stopping a rogue officer. It was about seeing who could be manipulated into playing along, who would follow the script. And the director, he wasn't supposed to be a player in this game. He was supposed to be a pawn. A single, unspoken decision hangs in the air. The director could walk away, let this end here. Pretend he never saw the patterns, never heard the warning in the officer's voice. Or he could start asking the real questions, the ones that would take him places he might not come back from. The tactical team doesn't move. They're waiting, not for orders, but for the moment to pass. For everyone here to accept what they're supposed to accept. The FBI director meets the officer's eyes one last time, and in that silent moment, they both understand the truth. This isn't over. It's just beginning.